Hey everybody, welcome back to a Titanovix deck video. Today we are going to review our deck here for Aragorn the Uniter, and I've organized it into some nice neat piles here. So let's just get right into it. This is a 4-color commander, and it really benefits from casting an abundance of spells. It cantrips off of like a high density of spells. So, you don't want to probably have too many high casting cards in your deck for this particular commander. It really benefits from multicolored spells too. So, for instance, when you cast a spell that has white in it, white mana cost, create a 1/1 white human soldier creature token. Whenever you cast a blue spell, scry 2. So if you casted a spell that was white and blue in its casting cost, you get to do both of those modes. And for instance, we'll have spells in here that are every color of Aragorn's colors, like Omnath, the Locus of Creation, and that would also meet the criteria to have all the modes go off at once, and that's when you're really having a good time. So, the point of this deck is based on some inspiration that I had from playing on Brawl format of all things, and I was playing against. It was the last sliver. And the last sliver is a 7/7 creature that when it enters the battlefield, it cascades. And that deck completely wrecked me. They had a very good mid-range play style. They were playing cards like Sunfall and Farewell. And I kind of never thought of integrating that into my Aragorn the Uniter deck. But they're kind of similar, commanders where they're just very powerful on their own. They have kind of a similar casting cost. Aragorn is 1 cheaper. But I was figuring I could probably do something like that with Aragorn, where I'm kind of adopting more of a mid-range style where I'm playing less creatures and more instants and sorceries and enchantments, and kind of punishing opponents for committing to the board, over-committing. And then I could accrue the value from that and bring out Aragorn and try to win with spells. So how would we win with instants and sorceries, predominantly with Aragorn? And I really think the mode to go through that is the Vesuvian Duplimancy. So here's our enchantments here. I put Mirari's Wake because I'm just going to get an extra one of those. I just feel like it's going to go in my other Aragorn deck. It's just very good for multicolor. So here's just our enchantments here, like for instance, Fable and the Mirror Breaker gets value to the graveyard. Fire Inscription will do damage to our opponents based on our instants and sorceries that we cast. Mirari's Wake is just a fantastic card that will double the amount of mana that our lands produce. It will also give a buff to our creatures, a 1/1 buff. Smothering Tithe, just to make an abundance of treasures when it's cast and it sticks. Here's Song of Creation. So a lot of people believe that, if you cast a Song of Creation, you probably need to win the turn that you cast it. That is a belief. What I do think is for this particular card is that also playing some decent adventure cards, because there are definitely some decent ones that we can play. Having those in the exile zone could kind of keep this chain going, and also flashback cards. And we're going to be having a heavy amount of flashback cards, especially ones that target creatures, and that will serve us very well with the Vesuvian Duplimancy. So here's our Underworld Breach, and this is the card where we'll basically cast this, exile cards from our graveyard, and then be able to recast cards from our graveyard that turn. They'll have flashback as well. So that's a nice one too. Or they have an escape cost, sorry. Here's the Vesuvian Duplimancy. So this is pretty much our major card that we're going to be probably looking for. We have tutors in the form of Enlightened Tutor and Idyllic Tutor that will kind of help us find Vesuvian Duplimancy, or maybe even one of our cards like Song of Creation or Whirlwind of the Whirlwind of Thought. So here is the Vesuvian Duplimancy. Whenever you cast a spell that targets only a single artifact or creature you control, and remember, it has to be only a single. You can't have fight spells because that targets 2 creatures. So it has to be just a spell that targets has a single target only. And then we create a token that's a copy of an artifact or a creature, except it's not legendary. So I can illustrate this pretty easily for you with this very nice one conveniently on the top. So for instance, a card like Angel Fire Ignition, that would meet the criteria, and you can see how well it would do in a Song of Creation deck as well. So this one just targets a creature, and you put the counters on it. They become vigilant, trample, lifelink, indestructible, and have haste until end of the turn. And then it has a flashback, so it goes to your graveyard. You can recast it, and it targets a single creature. So it's just perfect for this deck. It's a nice, interesting way to go about this, and I think you'd very much enjoy having like a Vesuvian Duplimancy, and then having perhaps a Song of Creation on the battlefield, and then really going to town with like an Angel Fire Ignition with your Aragorn. Yeah, that's pretty much the concept. We're gonna also have a lot of other like kind of cheaper single target ones as well. I'm still acquiring all the cards here, but as we're just kind of rolling through this, the last enchantment was Whirlwind of Thought, so there's that. So whenever you cast a non-creature spell, draw a card, so that's fine. And then additionally, we have our sorceries and instants here. The ones that are behind here, of course, that there's quite a few that I'm still missing, but for instance, behind the Angel Fire Ignition would be the Artful Dodge. Now, Artful Dodge is kind of that one for Vesuvian Duplimancy where it's only one cost to cast, and the flashback cost is only one cost as well. So you can see that's why we're going to attempt to create many Aragorns, and it's going to be awesome. It's going to be very fun. So, right on. Let's check out this. So the other ones that we're omitting from this, like I said, we're going to have definitely some sort of kind of a mid-rangey style, kind of a Gandalf, I guess would be your wording for that. But we will be playing some value creatures that work for us too. So the Deafening Clarion, that deals 3 damage to all creatures. Incandescent Aria, that deals 3 damage to all creatures except token creatures. Reckless Charge, that is a 1 mana to start. It targets a creature. I think it gives it 2/0 or 3/0 till end of turn in haste, and then you can flash it back again for the 3 costs. So it's pretty decent. It's a pretty decent one. Then we have Treasure Cruise, and that rounds out our sorceries. So the sorceries that we have here for the deck, we have Angel Fire Ignition, Artful Dodge, like we had mentioned, Balagad Recovery, Brotherhood End. So that's really how we're going to be getting in with that 3 damage to target to all the creatures. It's kind of like a nice option to really clear out some lower power creatures. Elves really hate this deck, for instance. This card is like a nemesis to them, especially if you can get it on curve for the 3 before they kind of buff out. Additionally, it will also deal damage to the Planeswalker, so it's a nice choice. And then it has this really nice mode too, where it destroys all artifacts with mana value 3 or less. So never a dead card, never, no, absolutely not. So Burn Down the House, also very cool to make some devils, with this one if we need to, for instance, if we're gonna have our only Planeswalker on the battlefield, we want to have some sort of creature density. So Chandra's Hope would be very well served by casting like a Burn Down the House when making a bunch of devils and kind of protecting Chandra. That would be very cool. So there's Burn Down the House. Additionally, these are the Incandescent Aria and the Clarion. Deafening Clarion. Here's our Kodama's Reach, fantastic. Amaria's Call, just some of our multi-face cards that can act as spells, so either lands or spells. So this one creates the angels and then indestructible. And then here's Escape to the Wild. It's just a fantastic card. One of our best. One of the best that's just going to give us a lot of value. It's going to trigger Aragorn, let us play additional land. Additionally, with Song of Creation, Song of Creation also lets you play an additional land on your turn. That card is really gas for this deck. We're going to have a good abundance of gas, like Expressive Iteration too, where it's just going to help us look at our top of our deck. Play 1 for a turn, put 1 into our hand. It's just a really good selection. Then our flashback suite, like with Faithless Looting. Then we have kind of our nasty, mid-rangey control spells like Farewell. Here's Homestead Courage, our flashback. It's a very nice Once again, more flashback for Vesuvian Diplomacy and for our Song of Creation, of course. And then these three that are missing are the ones that we've kind of already touched upon. For instance, Reckless Charge, Treasure Cruise, and those ones as well. So those ones, of course, will be included there. Here's the Idyllic Tutor. So this is the one where we can search up an enchantment, say Vesuvian Diplomacy, Whirlwind of Thought, Song of Creation, Smothering Tithe, whatever we're looking for. I mean, you can even find an Underworld Breach with this. It really just depends. It's very useful for our deck. The Idyllic Tutor. You are loved, child. Lorien Revealed. This card really impressed me. I'm very excited about Lorien Revealed. I like the Island Cycle, and really, the draw 3 for 5 is not so bad either. It's really not a bad rate. And you'll be surprised casting this. You'll be like, oh, I just drew 3 cards. That was amazing. So, yeah, I like the Lorien Revealed. It's very cool. Mizzix Mastery. See, this is like a kind of the Wombo combo, right? Where you kind of like cycle in like Lorien Revealed and like, you know, later on overload like a Mizzix Mastery and really go to town with value. Nature's Lore. This is just some nice ramp for us. Reckless Impulse. This is some nice gas, some Exile gas, which is also good for Song of Creation. And just in general, drawing cards in general for us. Risk Cards Expertise. This is the one that's kind of more of a risky one, but it could do well with like a Bone Crusher Giant on the battlefield, like maybe a beefed up Ledger Shredder. Even an Aragorn would really benefit this. Obviously, that's the most ideal where, you know, you're drawing 9 cards and playing a 5-drop from your hand with Aragorn on the battlefield. That's just like magical Christmas land. It does happen though. Definitely happens. Shatter Skull Smashing. Strike It Rich for some nice kind of re-flashbacking kind of spells. Also gets us a little bit ahead when we start off with it in our opener. That's a nice one. There's Sunfall. Fantastic. What a fantastic card. Just really nasty to our opponents to really kind of commit to their board. Really a terrible card for Gruul opponents. Really awful. Really devastates them. Mostly, unless like maybe they're playing a tally and they can just recast the tally or something and get value again. That's kind of a disaster, but it's still good. This thing also gives you the incubation token, which is really sneaky too, for how many creatures you destroy. Very, very good card. 3 visits, just another solid ramp card. And yeah, that basically would round out our sorceries there. So we are missing from this pile 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Really the highlight is the Artful Dodge, which looks a lot like this, but is in blue. And it makes your creature unblockable for the turn. So maybe power an Aragorn through, and also has that flashback for blue. So very similar, kind of foil-y cards, very similar functions there. And of course, works very well with our cornerstone card. It was the Vesuvian Diplomacy. So, if you are still with me, we're just gonna kind of get through this. We got through our enchantments pretty well here. There's our key card there. And let's get to the instants. I'm still missing Ancient Grudge, Defy Gravity. That's like kind of like the Homestead Courage, but with instant speed for giving flying to a creature, and also has flashback. Dig Through Time. Dig Through Time and Treasure Cruise. I encourage you to look into those cards if you haven't discovered those yet on your own. Those are very strong cards that delve from your graveyard, so really rewards you from building your graveyard and really casts those draw spells or searching spells for a much cheaper rate. Treasure Cruise, I think, draws 3 cards, and the Dig Through Time looks through the top 7 and you choose 2 to put in your hands, so they're both exceptional. And then I'm also going to pick up 2 Unexpected Windfalls just to have another one. So these are my notes. So those are the ones that you will not see. But I like Ancient Grudge too. That one's is like, it's a 1 mana destroy, 2 mana destroy target artifact, 1 red. The really cool part is a flashback for green, which is really interesting and good for us too. So yes, very nice stuff going on here. Here's my notes, and here's the ones we do have already. Big Score, just a nice one to build our yard, draw cards, make treasures. Crimson Wisp, this one is the one that will target our creature and help us draw a card, so that's a nice one. Also works extremely well there. Vesuvian Duplimency. All these cards work so well with that. Enlightened Tutor, that can help us find our win con. Galvanic Iteration for doubling our instants or sorceries, which is very nice. Growth Spiral, there's that, of course. And, that's just a little nice little ramp spell. Also, at instant speed, so it's nice. Kazul's Fury, just maybe to get us over the top. Maybe a supercharged Aragorn or one of the tokens that we're making with Aragorn. We can just maybe sack it and do some extreme damage to an opponent. Lightning Bolt, this is just a nice one for us. I like the red, just like kind of the red cheap spells with Aragorn. It really kind of rounds out the deck and helps, helps us just get over the finish line. Maybe deal that extra damage, maybe even target Aragorn. You could also do this. You could target Aragorn to make a copy of him with a Lightning Bolt. I mean, they just serve the same purpose. The only card that I have that doesn't really benefit us from targeting is the Swords of Plowshares, which is just an awesome, white removal spell. And, that'd be the only one that we can target Aragorn with because it would exile Aragorn, and we don't want to do that. Here's Metamorphose, just a nice one for Song Creation too, where we could basically cast this with a song and really just keep the gas flowing, keep that mana going, draw more cards. It's just a nice one that kind of keeps the gas going. Very good with Aragorn too. We give him a buff and also deal damage. Here's the March of Swirling Mist. This could target a single target, or we could target multiple things at once. Our stuff to protect it, or our opponent's stuff to help us swing through. So that's the March of Swirling Mist, a fantastic card. Spikeful Hazard. This thing with like a Fiery Inscription and Aragorn on the battlefield is just, for 1 mana, it's just doing an abundance of damage. You're doing all that damage to your opponents with a Fiery Inscription, and then Aragorn is doing 3 damage to face, and this is doing 1 damage to something else. It's just the value is amazing. Amazing value. There's the swords. All right, so there we go. Everything is great. And let's look at our creatures. Only 9 of them. Got the Bone Daddy. We got the best adventures, that we can really get a hold of in these colors. The Bone Crusher Giant is fine. Brazen Borrow could be probably even better in some cases. And additionally, we have this new guy here, the Questing Druid. He's fantastic for us. Puts those cards into exile. We can cast this and start making a pretty ripped creature out of it. It's fantastic. So we have some adventures here. Then we have our DRC for our Surveil and building our graveyard. Ledger Shredder will do similar functions of that. Really get large, connive in some stuff into our yard and get us ready for the game. Omnath is just a fantastic card with Aragorn, and in itself is very good, where it just draws card, and we have an abundance of fetch lands in this deck, so we're probably going to be able to, meet this criteria for the additional mana, so it's just very nice. Can also get that, 3 lands at 1 turn and really get it cooking with that 4 damage to each opponent and each planeswalker that we don't control. So that's nice. There's Ragavan. And once again, Omnath will also trigger all of Aragorn's modes if Aragorn was on the battlefield. So what a great card for us. Here's Ragavan, of course. This is just our nice little 1-drop that really gets us going. We're not playing any dorks in here. We want to kind of be evasive. Ragavan lets us do that. We can dash him in, kind of keep that value rolling if we need to. He doesn't have to stick to the board. We can dash him if we have a game plan for that. Secure Tribalder. This one can take a block, maybe in the earlier game and find us a land. Just a little extra board presence here. Nothing too crazy. I'm willing to try it. If it doesn't work out, I'll just put in like a Farseek, but we'll try the Secure Tribalder. It seems fine. And then the third Path Iconoclast. This was a suggestion from Findigol on the CGB Discord. He's a fantastic contributor. He has a lot of great ideas. He gave me some good advice. He says, it's not like a Brawl format where in Brawl, like your Iconoclast is going to get shot down pretty fast. You're going to have time to develop these 2-mana cards that, get you a lot of value. So even Young Pyromancer was also a suggestion of his. And those are really good advice. Commander isn't always such, all your stuff is getting targeted and blown up. You might have a little bit of time for these 2-drops that really can accrue you a lot of value. So we definitely like that idea for the third Path Iconoclast. We're going to be definitely playing a lot of non-creature spells. Okay, Now, additionally, we kind of mentioned Chandra. It's a perfect planeswalker for us in this deck. It's going to just copy in all of our instants and sorceries for once each turn, which is awesome. When it comes down, it also contributes mana, so we can go ahead and start copying right away with some of our 2 mana spells. We play plenty of those. So this is like our highest casting cost card in the deck, and it's just perfect. It's just perfect to get us all that extra value. We can even exile cards with this +1, about 4 cards. Play one of those spells on the up to, I think it's up to your next turn. It's really good. And they can also act as some removal if we need to do some removal to some targets. So that's a chef's kiss right there. Fantastic. Additionally, we have our Soul Ring here. So that's a nice one. And our Arcane Signet. So not too many artifacts, mostly kind of leaning on the green ramp. And and the Aragorn. So yeah, it looks like a solid suite of acceleration. So nothing too crazy. And additionally, the one I'm missing here, I'm sorry I didn't note that, is the Chromatic Lantern. That's the one we need to still add to this deck. So the Chromatic Lantern will find its way in, and that will be the deck. The deck will be done. So in terms of lands, we have, these are the lands. I'm kind of like moving through I made a lot of decks, so I think I've kind of maximized the budget for this. Of course, it would do well with the channel lands, but right now I just have the 4-color the 3-color triomes, all 4 of them. I have the shock lands here. The fetch lands, of course, there's 6 of them, so quite a few. And then I just took cards from my binder that I had, like the pathways. And I had some commander lands here, which are very nice for us, the red, white, and the red, blue. And then I have the pain lands here, which are, very affordable. And then I have some of the nicer, slower lands here that are multicolored, a command tower, and then some basics. I just love these Kamigawa basics. They're beautiful. So I have some of those. I have some of the Lord of the Rings islands, and that's it. And then I have this fast land here. Just one. Red, green. Right. That's it. Everybody, hope you enjoy Aragorn the Uniter. And I will post the Moxfield. I will post the Brawl versions. And I will post these Commander versions as well. So enjoy and let me know what you think. Bye.